This is a Gothic architecture, large building there that was completed in 1885. For some people there, they consider this one of the most haunted places in Evansville or in southern Indiana. This was built as an educational and a learning site. It's in the middle of a 13-acre park that was known as Carpenter's Field. If you go way back, this is where the circuses were held in Evansville. What was unique about it at the time, in the late 1870s when they started it, was that when it was to be completed there, it was to be open to everyone, no matter race, creed, religion, which at the time was not exactly common. I've worked here 11 years. I've done research here 30-something years. That's how I got interested in here. The collections and stuff they've got here, you know, especially for local history and stuff, you can't go anywhere else. Before it was started in the 1870s, Willard Carpenter, who built the library, had considered building a women's college. 1870s, there was a nationwide recession. The land, which was a lot of what he owned there, had lost some of its value, and he became convinced that the college wouldn't go. So he switched to a library. Back when I first started coming here, the old director, Don Baker, this is a serious library, we don't have ghosts, we don't talk about ghosts. His successor then, it was like, okay, it's just part of the library story. So for a number of years there, in October there, they've been doing the ghost tours. And basically all they do is they take you through the building and they tell you the different stories that have come up, what people say they've seen. And those stories go back, I think, to the 1937. It was a janitor that started reporting things happening down in the basement. That's where the first stories, or written stories that we know of, came from. I think there's things you can't explain. It's a 138-year-old building. It squeaks, it creaks, you get light, you know, from off the highway here. So, I mean, things happen at times there. There's things there that I know from here where I'm sure where the source of stuff came from and things like that that I trust that you know, make me believe certain things like that. Originally, a lot of people, it was the Gray Lady, Louise, Willard Carpenter's daughter. She took the library trustees to court after her dad died. Louise, you know, my dad was crazy. He didn't know what he was doing when he gave all of his property to the trustees of the library. She lost the court case, but all these stories of, you know, the family relationship and everything else all came out during this. But she died actually up east. She didn't die anywhere around here. The thought on some people always was that it was Louise there. She'd gone to court and it's basically, this should have been mine, you know, her dad's money and stuff there, and that's why she's here. In more recent years, people, you know, have seen more than one thing, seen children, seen man. I know a couple years ago down in Children's, and it just happened to be where the camera that's down there just crossed in front of it, but 5.5 hours after the library closed, this book just fell off the shelf. And it's like, you know, okay, that's different there. I know my supervisor up here doesn't believe at all. She spent, I don't know how much time there setting the book up on the shelf and playing with it to show that, see, it can fall off by itself. The thing that people were more, you know, curious about when it happened was the library had closed 5.5 hours before that, you know, and this book just chose that time to fall off. Another story up here, and this was from before I was around here. Alarm went off one night. This was back when there was no ghost at Willard. Don Baker comes here, he meets the police. He comes inside with one officer. They search the building to see if anybody's broken in. And when they left, the policeman that was sitting out in the car out there asked if they caught him. And they said, well, we didn't see anything. And the policeman that was sitting out here, he said, well, the whole time you were in there were two people looking out the windows here, me down in the car. That was at a time when, really they didn't talk about the ghost. The year before COVID there, I was doing a ghost tour up here. And there's a story where a local weather guy did a program upstairs. And at the time they were joking around, and he wanted somebody to flip a book off the shelf while he was on. And they told him you couldn't do that, Well, they went ahead and did the program. During the program, a book did fall off the shelf. Like I said, that year before COVID, I was doing a tour and I was telling that story, and this lady that was in the tour, she kind of raised her hand and said, I was here with the TV crew that morning when they were filming that, and there wasn't anything here. So so when you get stuff, kind of independent then like that, it makes it, a little bit different the way you think about it. Up on this floor, there was a program in this room all day, and they had all kinds of electronic problems the whole day. By the end of the day then, the maintenance man, he got stuck in the elevator, which is right behind here. So that night, we closed everything up. I thought I had everything shut down up here. We left, I get outside, glanced back up here, and the lights were on in this room. So it's like, okay, maybe I didn't hit them there. Came back upstairs. Well, they disarmed the alarm. I just ran through the building in the dark up here. There, turned out the lights, ran back down the stairs there, went out, we set the alarm and left. Well, that night, someone contacted the library that on the ghost cameras, they saw something, and they gave a time. And the next morning when I came in, everybody was laughing because they were sure they had gotten me on the ghost cameras running through the building back and forth. And anyway, they pulled the video then from when this person said there was, something there. And it was out on the landing out here. And the picture there, it's very obviously a lady with a long dress down and stuff, because that was the girls downstairs were joking, you didn't have a dress on when you left last night, so it's not you. But when it came down to, they were checking the time on the video, and they were checking the time on when we reset the alarm. This was like 3 minutes after I went the other direction. You've got this picture of the woman out on the staircase. So that's the closest I've come to anything. I had, like that. At the time, I didn't see anything because I was just running in and out. Willard Carpenter, he was an unusual man. He a lot of money, self-educated and stuff there. He was tight. Go back to Victorian business practices, things today that, maybe not would have, been quite acceptable there. But he was the old school where you worked there. He died 2 years before the library opened there. And anyway, up until the time he died, he was out here pushing wheelbarrows full of bricks up the ramps for the brick masons, hauling wood, everything else. It was like, okay, I've donated the money to build this, but that's not enough. I've actually got to participate in this there. So it's one of those there, that it's just kind of the, what happened here like that. He wanted this to be, a place of learning like that. And I know, like I mentioned before there, from the very beginning, it was to be open to everybody.